Hi, and thanks to Kathleen Whalen of Whalen Financial at 128 Buckland Street in LaSalle for sponsoring this weekend reset. On April 1st, Oglesby voters are going to have a unique opportunity to help determine the city's form of government for what could be generations. The question specifically asks if the city should switch to the city manager form of government. Of course, the city is using the commission form and has been. Really simply, 4 commissioners and a mayor with commissioners each in charge of city departments. That's the commission form. The city manager model puts one person in a position to execute the wishes of the majority of the council across the city's departments. It's a big decision to make, and so the Oglesby Plan Commission held a forum Wednesday night at the Elks Lodge. Unfortunately, only one side of the debate was presented. There were 2 people there speaking in favor of the city manager form of government, nobody for the commissioner form. But I want to take a step back today and look at the origins of the movement to get the question on the ballot in the first place. So I spoke with longtime resident and businessman Jay Baxter. He came by the station at our invitation and talked about how this all started up in the first place.
Well, to give you some background, I have said publicly that for the last probably at least 30 years, Oglesby needs to change its form of government to a city manager form of government. The reason why is I've observed the politics, the growth of the city, what has happened. The city of Oglesby runs on a $15 million budget, approximately, and it's got 60 to 90 employees. Because things have changed so much through the years, the people running for the office don't typically have the experience dealing with that kind of money, and they don't typically have the experience dealing with that many employees. Both of them, I think, require some professional expertise. I'm not implying that they can't do it, but there is a learning curve. You vote them in, they may not have any experience, and then they have to learn. And that learning period is very crucial and can be very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. And again, it's not that I'm attacking them, it's just reality. The other thing is you have, with dealing with employees, you have all of these lawsuits. If you don't handle employees right, you've got discrimination issues, you've got harassment issues, and everything else. Again, some of these people don't have the expertise or the knowledge to do that.
Have you ever seen instances, and I'm not asking you to be specific, but just factually, of people becoming commissioners for the wrong reasons?
I'm not going to give specific answers, but the question is, there have been people that have run for office several times. I think the only reason they ran was to get somebody fire them, get them out so they lost their job. I think there are some cases where people have run to get somebody a job. That one's tough. I mean, nepotism is all over the place. If you happen to have a competent relative and you get them a job, that's okay. Not right, completely right, but I can live with it. If you have an incompetent relative and you get them a job, I have a problem with that because I don't like paying for incompetency.
You're just talking about merit.
It should be a merit system, which is very difficult. But when you are elected by the public, your first obligation is to the citizens of Oglesby, not your relatives.
From what we heard at the presentation, typically a city manager is paid about 1% to 3% of the city budget in salary. So $15 million, roughly $150K for salary there?
Yeah, and I actually have spent some time going through Google and researching things and talking to people. I had a handout and I didn't bring it with me, but I will try to go by memory here as best I can. I think Streeter is at 134. I think Princeton is at 120, and I'm missing one. And but it was right in the range. ZipRecruiter. If you go in there and ask what is the average salary of a city manager, you're going to get, I believe, 119. And if you go to jobs.com, you're going to get about 111. So I don't think we need to spend 150. I think it's probably more 125, 130.
But part of the point that the advocates for the city manager systems made the other night was that a lot of that money can be realized back by knowing where to look for grants. So the position, if it's done right, I don't know if it's going to completely pay for itself, but it's probably worth the salary that the person's being paid if they do the job properly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if you know where the grants are and the grant programs, there's a lot of money out there to be had. And the thing when you have a professional city manager, they belong to organizations. They can attend seminars on how to run the money down, so to speak.
I would think that it might also, as you're sort of alluding to before, limit your exposure for maybe making an HR mistake in a department that you're running as a commissioner.
That's huge.
If you've got somebody who knows how HR works,
right.
That's a big part, I would think, of a city manager's job, is knowing how to handle sensitive issues in different departments easily.
Yeah, the scary thing there is, I'm talking about $1 million in savings, which I will probably say is somewhat inflated, but I think at that level, I don't think there's too much doubt we can get it back. Yeah. You get a lawsuit, you're talking multiples of $1 million.
Yeah. Do you know, has Oglesby been party to any of those?
I am not aware of any, and I've done some work for the city and been around the city. I've never seen anything that would lead me to believe there's a problem. Oglesby's got a lot of positives. There's no question about it. And I've never seen anything as harassment or, that I would think was harassment. I'll put it to you that way.
Okay.
I got a call from Mayor Kern, okay? And he basically said, Jay, someone told me that you think we should have the city manager form of government. And I said, yeah, I've been saying it for a long time. He said, there's a group of us exploring changing the form of government, and the city manager form has come up. I'm paraphrasing here, but I think what I'm saying is basically accurate.
So the mayor reached out to you and said he already had a working group that was
right.
looking into it, and since you had the knowledge and the background, you were invited to be part of it?
Yes, that is correct. I think they'd had 2 meetings before that. I went to, I believe, the 3rd meeting. We had some discussion. One gentleman was talking about the aldermanic form. I think he was talking about it mainly to let us know it was there now, maybe not necessarily to push it over the city manager form, but I think he was at least trying to make us aware. As a group, we decided we thought the city manager form was the best fit and we should pursue it.
How many people are in this group?
It varies. I think there were probably 12 people at that meeting.
Can you characterize it in terms of professions or without getting specific?
I think it runs the gamut.
Cross-section of the city.
Yeah, it's a cross-section of the city. And I don't know if this is out of place. I walked Oglesby for 2 Saturdays, and I collected 46 signatures. I talked to a lot of people. Because the part of town I live in, it might be slightly skewed, but I also talked to some people who were not in my neighborhood, and the feedback I got, everybody at the very least was interested in it. And 44 wanted to sign the petition.
Then people were hearing about the petitions and they didn't know more about it, right?
Well,
speculation happened.
It flared up, I think, when the commissioners found out about it. There was some talk of getting a FOIA and getting a copy of the petitions. At that time, we hadn't submitted them. They were sitting on my kitchen counter. And that's kind of when the flare-up occurred.
Yeah.
But we didn't want the people we approached to be subjected to undue and unnecessary pressure. I tried very hard to explain what this meant. I told them you were looking at a salary of $100,000 to $150,000. So I was up front. Yeah, this is going to cost. I may have gone in there and pointed out some of the issues that have happened in the past. The people I talked to were pretty much all aware of them to begin with.
Issues such as what?
Why did you become a commissioner? Was it because you wanted to help the town, or you wanted to get rid of somebody. That's pretty much common knowledge, and everybody's got their own take on it. I don't know all the facts either, but I do know it makes Oglesby not look real good, and I don't think stuff like that needs to be discussed and determined in a closed-door session, because it's just not the thing you should do publicly. Yeah. Again, I'm trying to say here is I think I put the cards on the table, okay, and everybody knew what I was asking for. I mean, I have been accused of misleading the public. I guess, to be blunt, I would defy them to go out there and talk to anyone that signed in that petition and get them to say I misled them.
The session the other night did not present the other side, the pro-commission side. But there were two there presenting the manager's side. And so it felt a little out of balance. As an observer who wants to hear the benefits of both sides and the negatives of both sides. I know you don't necessarily have a say in these forums because it's done by the Oglesby Plan Commission. Mm-hmm. But would you say maybe if there were another one, they should probably have both sides so that people can make an informed decision?
I'm trying to state this diplomatically. You're going to have a very difficult time finding a professional organization that supports the commissioner form of government. Its benefit is you can make fast decisions and get things done with the commissioner form. I mean, that commissioner has that power, okay? And it's right, it will get things done. But that same power opens up the possibilities of abuse and bad decisions.
How do you think it's going to break when the votes are cast on April 1st?
Personally, and I tend to be idealistic, which is I've been proven wrong because that a few times. I think the majority of people will vote for change. I could be wrong. I will say this: if I am wrong and there is no change, I guess my comment would be, okay, they don't want any change. You commissioners need to realize that the citizens of Oglesby have continued to leave their trust in you. I think you need to honor that obligation. And quite frankly, I hope you prove me wrong that we didn't need the change.
I hope they do arrange to have the other side heard, maybe in another forum before April 1st. It's only fair, in my opinion. And before someone says people already know how their government works, there may be some things involved in the commission form that can help people make an informed decision one way or the other. But as has been said by many, including in public comments at a meeting by former Mayor and Commissioner Don Finley, well, here's how it was put by Scott Wrighton right up front at this week's forum.
I've worked in city management for many years, also taught others how to do it, and worked overseas as well. From that experience, I will tell you that it's been my experience that regardless of the form of government that a local government uses, if everybody gets along, if everybody's on the same page, and they're all working on behalf of whatever the city's objectives are, its strategic plan is, if we're all one big happy family moving in the same direction, it doesn't matter what the form of government is. You can work with any kind of form of government.
Thanks again to Kathleen Wayland of Wayland Financial at 128 Buckland in LaSalle, and thanks to you for joining me this morning. I'll talk to you in the morning.